I was like, hey, I've got a switcher that I need to work on. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I need to work on this one. So today we're going to revisit this little guy. Now, for those of you that don't recall, in a time in the distant past, I talked a little bit about this Lionel produced for a scale 060 Saddletank switcher and how it runs wonderfully, but it has pretty minuscule smoke. The only way I can even see smoke is if I put it under load and crank it all the way up voltage wise. So what I'd like to do today is revisit this guy and see if maybe we can find a way to get better smoke output out of an 060 American Flyer by Lionel Saddletank. So I hope you join me today on Austin's American Flyer. So let's take another look at this 060 switcher. Again, this is a American Flyer by Lionel, and it's a little different than Flyer stuff, but in some ways it's kind of where Flyer was headed when they stopped producing engines and trains and everything else. This one has a blind driver in the middle that you can see is not even a full driver. It is a pretty rinky-dink plastic circlet. I guess we'll call it a wheel. It's round, but it's not even all there. Like there's no back piece, so that's really cheap. Then you can see these little metal rollers here. Those are the actual pickups, which they do a good job, but man, it just looks kind of dumb, So anyhow, that's that. There are traction tires on this thing, and it pulls very well. However, like I said earlier, there's an issue with smoke. So first of all, let's go ahead and get some power to this thing, and we'll let it run a little bit and see what kind of action we get on the smoke side. And if it goes as I expect, then we'll go ahead and take the shell off and see what we can figure out. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we can get going here. All right. Whoops. There are little extensions at the bottom and back here that I've got alligators clips hooked up to. So that's kind of handy. Let's see, does the headlight work? We've got an LED headlight. And there is a chuff there. It's not always easy to hear that. Let's go ahead and give it the beans here and see if we get any smoke. Well, there is a little bit of smoke, so that's encouraging. Okay. So let's just again reflect a little bit on how these things work. So we've got a wick inside here, and it's surrounded by a wire. Typically we call that a nichrome wire because nichrome wire, when you run current through, gets hot. And what the nichrome wire does is it heats up that filament or that wick, and then the oil or smoke fluid that's in there gets hot enough to start to smoke. And so it's a pretty simple process, but what I suspect is this smoke unit doesn't get very much voltage. That's why we don't see much smoke. So what I want to do next is take the shell off and then see about putting a meter on the feed going to the smoke unit, and let's just do some testing. Alright, so we're going to switch to the overhead view here, just because it's really hard for me to hold the camera and do anything else. So what I don't recall, it's been long enough that I don't recall how to take this shell off. So screw. Let's start with these and see if that will release the shell or not. These are Phillips screws. And why don't I get a little help here with not losing stuff. Okay, so we got the rear of the chassis loose. Okay, so that in and of itself did not release the chassis. So now I think go ahead and take this coupler loose. Okay, so now we got the back side loose, so we'll got 2 more Phillips there. Okay, so that's good. Now what I didn't do is I forgot to take 2 screws off here on the side for our crossheads. Looks like I wouldn't have had to do that, but it's okay. So the 1 screw I took out wouldn't have needed to come. That was to hold the choo-choo unit. So probably should put that one back in. And let's see, we've got the lights, looks like back here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just disconnect those. Okay, so the one with white and black is the front, and that's going to be towards the middle here. Trying not to break anything. Then the red and black is for the rear light. Okay, so now we've got our shell freed up. And here is our really tiny chuff unit and piston. And I'll go ahead and put that back together so I don't have anything get lost, like the pin for the plunger. And that is so small. That's like the size of a HO choo-choo unit. No wonder it doesn't make much bark. It's kind of too bad that they didn't upsize that a little bit. But okay, at least we have an idea of what that screw's doing. And one thing I do appreciate, they've got metal cam gear here for the choo-choo unit, or the piston. That's nice, it's not plastic, and then the gear below that is also metal. And we've got a motor here that's vertical, and you've got a little bit of a flywheel on there. If we turn the shell over, I'm kind of curious. You know, there's not a lot of space in there, so I guess yeah, I don't know. Maybe they could have made a bigger piston. That would have been ideal. All right, so now what we want to do is put. I'll take the side rods off here, at least the main drive linkage. And then we'll put it on the rolling road, put power to it, and check what kind of power we got going through there. Let's see, where's my, there it is. Nice, same size as American Flyer. I should say AC Gilbert Flyer. Now, one thing I want to do is pay attention to how this is put together. So we've got a plastic washer, then we've got, oh, actually that all goes together. We'll just keep that there. Go go ahead and put this back on. And we have a spacing washer, and then 2 different pieces of side rod. So they actually are not 1 piece, they're 2 pieces. And there's another inner post on there, although that might be in the wheel, I guess, I'm not sure. Also need to be careful I don't cross thread because this post is plastic. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, if we look at our wires here, they are going to this spot here, and my guess is if I took this rubber band off, probably be some sort of a circuit board there, and I want to just see if there's any chance that maybe there's a way to adjust the output, although probably the smart thing would be just disconnect it and run power from pickups down here would be my guess. But anyhow, first things first, let's go ahead and again get the jumpers on here. Well, come on now. Alligator clips are getting tired. Let's do volt AC. Just a little bit hard to get to. Okay, we got our power at, let's go ahead and, try it that way. Maybe that'll help stay on without that insulator. Okay, so I'm going to put my transformer at 60, and let's just see what kind of reading we get here. Maybe if we can, I don't know if I'll be able to get a reading at all, but we'll try. .1 volts, and I did see just little wisps of smoke coming out of there. Now that's at approximately 50% on this throttle. Let's go ahead and take it up here to full power. So 4.5 is looks like that's about max. So that's interesting. Let me try one more thing. Let me see what the, I don't know how well this is going to read again because I've got wires connected going back to the circuit board, but I'm just curious. If I'm reading this correctly, that's 19 ohms. So that's really low. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is take off this rubber band here with the gold being to see what I can see on the circuit board, hopefully, because I really don't want to fry anything if I can avoid it. Okay, so wow, they got everything packed in here. Oh, let's see, do I take the motor? Wow. So there's screws down there and screws there. So how can I get... There, it should slide out this way. Ah, shucks, I got this thing completely wrapped in shrink wrap. I guess I have no choice because I've got to keep it from any electrical contact with the metal bracket holding the motor. Okay, so gently put that back. I'll go ahead and put our rubber band back on. This rubber band makes me think of a traction tire. I bet it is. I bet it's a Lionel steam engine traction tire. Whoops. Gets things turned around. There we go. Okay. Boy, how did I get that so twisted? Yikes. Okay. So, now I did take this off in the past. I think I'll go ahead and remove it again. Just wondering what the best way to add new wires to this is going to be. And again, if you didn't see my previous video, one other thing I did was I added a little bit of angel hair, kind of rewrap things differently with the hopes that I'd get better smoke output. And I'm sure it didn't hurt, but it didn't seem to do much in terms of helping. Wow, can't remember this being so tight to get off of there. There we go. Got a little gasket on there. So this is what I added, this piece right here, and I put wire around it to keep it keep it tight. But this is one of those resistors that some Lionel smoke units use. I think, and then they've got this nichrome wire wrapped around that too. So trying to think if I just unsolder these screws, if I'm gonna, do something that I can't reverse. Probably won't. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that next. Here. there's different ways to do this. Could cut the wires, jumper mount that way, and then reattach something at a future date. But my concern is that I don't want to accidentally backfeed the circuit board and do some sort of permanent damage. Okay, now that we've got that done, so the hole from the piston actually comes up in this corner, so that's why I'll make sure that I don't have this extra wick in the way of the airflow, which doesn't appear to be the case. So the next part of our test is I'm going to go ahead and repower up the engine. This time I'm going to hook directly to the power source here. The second set of jumpers. Actually, maybe just go like that. Oh yes, the other thing I want to do is I want to turn off the smoke unit down here. Okay. So these wires should be dead. All right, let's see what happens now. Okay, so we have a lot more smoke at the lowest speeds now, which is what I kind of expected would happen. Let's see what we've got going on with AC voltage. So at lowest voltage, we're at 7.4 volts on the from the transformer to the track. So let's see what happens if we crank it up. Oh my. Okay, so the challenge is going to be not burning this thing out, because you saw how heavy that was at full power. Now, in theory, most of the time, this is the kind of engine that I'd like to run at 30 miles an hour kind of thing, kind of slow. So this is what I'm after. I want to see better smoke. Okay, so we've got that sorted. Now the other thing I want to do, just to make sure that we're doing things right, is I'm going to check the voltage here. There should be nothing because I turned the switch off, but I just want to verify that we've got no voltage coming through here. Hmm. 1.7. Okay, let's take it all the way up. There's even less voltage now. It's weird. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some shrink tubing, and I'm just going to cover the ends of these. I'm going to leave everything attached. That way, if someone after me wants to put things back, they are welcome to do that. And you may be thinking, so what are you going to do with these wires? Well, I will show you what I'm going to do with these wires. hopefully everything will work as expected, as anticipated. And so now it's a matter of putting a little bit of my mess away and then putting the engine back together, taking it over to the layout and seeing what happens. Well, here we go. Got a little bit of a smoke system working here at 8.5 volts right now. Encouraging, because as I said previously, I couldn't get smoke until it's basically full power before. Put the 10 volts here. Like it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and back up to a train here, and then we'll see what we can do with this. We're running at 12 volts here. Did add a little bit of smoke fluid. Maybe I added too much. Kind of intermittent smoke. Oh, there we go.